Drake May and the Patriots upset the Bills 23-20 on Sunday Night Football right here on TSN, winning for just the third time in their last 9 against Buffalo. These two quarterbacks put up nearly identical numbers Sunday, but the Patriots are now 3-2. Buffalo is now 4-1. And our Dave Naylor joins us from Orchard Park, New York, where the Bills lost their first game of the season. Dave, there was some talk this week that the Patriots might be upset worthy. In the end, they get it done. What was the key to this victory, in your opinion?
All kinds of ingredients into this upset. The Buffalo Bills' first loss on home field in almost 2 years by the calendar. And look, I think it started right in the first half when you saw the penalties they were taking early on, when you saw the run game with James Cook not getting on track, when you saw the turnovers. I mean, that was the clunkiest first quarter. In fact, that was the clunkiest quarter of football the Buffalo Bills have played all season by a long shot. I mean, they'd scored touchdowns on their opening drives in each of their 4 games going in. They didn't score in the first quarter, said they had the 2 turnovers on fumbles, and Cook had 32 yards in the first half. Just didn't really get that going. The Bills took 11 penalties in this game. They had a bunch more that were declined. That's the second week in a row they've been double digits penalties. They got away with it over New Orleans. They did not get away with it this time. And the other ingredient, I think, in this one was, and this is one that's going to scare Bills fans because it is kind of a fear. Historically, in the recent history, the Bills, the last couple of years, the defense has been on the field in situations where if they can get a stop, win the game. We've seen that at playoff time. We've seen that sometimes in the regular season. And ultimately, it came down to this. I mean, Joey Bosa twice got his hands on Drake May on that final drive. If he takes him down, maybe there's a different result on that drive. But they weren't able to get the play they needed. New England kicks the field goal and manages to milk the clock enough so there's nothing Buffalo could do. So lots of ingredients into this one. One of those games, Jay, where you could say the Bills lost it as much as New England won it.
And another thing we learned, Dave, on Sunday is that with the right motivation, Stefon Diggs is still an elite receiver in the National Football League. He was sensational against his former team, and you covered him while he was with the Bills. What made him such a tough matchup on Sunday night?
Well, Stefon Diggs was all over the field. I mean, he was catching the ball at the line of scrimmage. He was catching it over the middle. He was catching it deep. It looked like it wasn't like he exploited one part of the Bills' defense. He was matched up against different players the entire night. And I'll tell you, you mentioned the motivation for Stefon Diggs. Okay, so I'm standing outside the Patriots locker room when he comes off the field with a bunch of other reporters that cover the Bills. He recognizes all those faces. And before he turned and went into the locker room, he just kind of took a step in that direction and let out a wail. Now, when I did get into the Patriots locker room, I saw Stefon Diggs partying like they won the Super Bowl. Him and 3 or 4 other players dancing, singing. I couldn't get an interview. It was like he was rehearsing his Vegas act. This game mattered. This game mattered to Stefon Diggs. He knows, and again, he didn't get a real negative reception. I think a lot of people anticipated huge boos for Diggs because the way he left and some of his underperformance in big games for the Bills. But I'll tell you, the Bills didn't really have a Stefon Diggs on their side tonight. They did with Dalton Kincaid, their tight end, who found a lot of space in the middle of the field. That was Josh Allen's favorite target tonight. But on the outside, with 2 really good corners they have, Christian Gonzalez and Carlton Davis, there was not a lot on the outside. And, we saw that what they tried to do with Josh Allen in the second half was kind of run him on bootlegs and have him buy time with the old sort of idea that if Josh runs around a bit, he can give time for his guys to separate because they weren't getting separation on their own. But even that wasn't working near the end of the game. And ultimately, when Buffalo had a chance to punch in that touchdown at the end of the game on their final drive or their second final drive to go ahead, they had to settle for the field goal. So a few Buffalo Bills fears. Receivers not able to separate, defense not able to get a stop and get them off the field. All of that came back to haunt them, but really a lot of sloppiness and a very uncharacteristic Buffalo Bills performance overall.
That's our Buffalo Bills reporter, Dave Naylor. Dave, thanks so much for this.